Hello good people, and welcome back to another episode of the Sandwich Series. This is a series where I find the most authentic, amazing sandwiches from around the world and show you guys how to recreate them from scratch.
Whoa, that's my series, Josh. I take care of the sandwiches on this channel.
Sorry, bro. So while this may not be Mike's Sandwich Series, we're making something similar to a sandwich today on Legit versus Budget. It's called an arepa, and it comes from Venezuela. There is a Colombian version as well, and there's a lot of debate about it, but I'm focusing on the Venezuelan Arepa today. So the arepa hails from Venezuela, a South American country. There's a lot of freshness. A lot of the ingredients are simple, they're versatile, they're worldwide. Just a couple things to know about the arepa before you get started making them. So first off, this is the most important ingredient, and this is called masa arepa. It's not normal cornmeal. You cannot use normal cornmeal, but get some kind of masa arepa. Pan is the very famous one. There's a white version and a yellow version. Both work really well, but it's actually a pre-cooked cornmeal. So they cook it, then they dehydrate it. And originally, the natives used to chew it with their teeth as a way to grind up the corn. So they weren't necessarily that popular because that took a lot of work. But in the 1960s, when they started making this, you could buy it a lot easier in a package, the arepas blew up. So originally, arepas are just these corn cakes, and they use that masa arepa, very simple, some water, maybe some oil, and they cook them up, and they would serve them with almost every single meal. Instead of having a side of bread, the arepa was the main thing in Venezuela. What's interesting is over time, as they got more and more popular, more accessible and easy to make, they started cutting them in half and stuffing them and making these amazing sandwiches with pulled chickens and beef and fried plantains and all kinds of stuff. So I'm gonna make a few things for you guys today. You're gonna be blown away. This is one of my favorite foods of all ever, but it's also it's fun food, it's party food. It's not food that takes all day. It's not super labor intensive. These things you can honestly make in minutes. They're so fast to make. It's a great substitute for bread. Of course, it is also gluten-free as well if you're off the gluten train. So let's just go over a couple ingredients. So of course we have our masa arepa flour, very important. I've got some parsley here and some cilantro, which a lot of Latin American cultures you might just see cilantro, but you're slipping in the parsley. Plantains. Now plantains are a staple to the cuisine, and one thing that's really important is there's two types of plantains. There's green plantains and there's yellow plantains. And when they're green, they're much more starchy. If you're gonna have plantain chips, oftentimes they're gonna be served as a chip. They'll bake them and stuff, but they're much more starchy and they're savory. As they get darker like this, and even like this, they get super sweet. This would be a bad banana, but this is actually a great plantain. You want it to be, the darker the better. You don't want it to be super mushy, but you want it to be really dark and have a nice amount of give to it. And that is gonna just make sure it's really sweet when we fry it up. Of course, some normal things, jalapenos, limes, some tomatoes that have been just diced up in a can. You could use fresh, of course, some different types of peppers, onions, avocados are a big thing. We're gonna use some garlic. So today we're gonna make two types of arepas just to show you guys the basis. You can fill them honestly with anything. The corn is pretty neutral, so you can go crazy. You can do pulled pork, you can do vegetarian versions, there's all kinds of stuff. I'm gonna be making two classic ones, the Reina Pepiada, and that is a sort of shredded chicken that has this dressing that's avocados and jalapenos and onions, and it's just delicious. It's more like a chicken salad. Then I'm gonna do the Pabellon, which is a beef one, and it's actually fried plantains, beef, black beans, and cheese, and it's so good. So last night I took a chuck roast, about 2.5 pounds, added some garlic and onions and water, and I just slow cooked this thing overnight, and look at that. I mean, come the frick on. Wow. What the? Is that not amazing? Are you not entertained? So this is actually called carne machata. What we're gonna do is we're gonna shred all this up, and then we're gonna cook it with a bunch of different things. It's gonna become this delicious filling for our arepa. Some olive oil goes in. Saute these guys. Something about those colors is always amazing. So I'm just gonna kind of sweat these down, saute them a little bit. You can sweat or saute, you choose. And then might as well just add the garlic now, it's not gonna burn. A little salt goes in, a little pepper. Now I'm gonna go with the tomatoes, which are gonna kind of help have some of that liquid for the beef to get rejuvenated in, As an added bonus for flavor, I gotta add some of this liquid in. This is from the cooking of the beef. I mean, come on. And then we're just gonna let this simmer. And if you wanted to add some jalapeno to this, you could. Have fun. Just all that matters with cooking is that it tastes good. Huge part of this series for me is to study different cuisines to understand their culture and their flavor better, but I don't want to feel limited and stuck in a little box. You know, I want to use that so I can actually grow and expand and try new things and take risks and have some fun. Focus on the flavor, focus on the experience, focus on having fun, of being connected to the food, of bringing friends over, trying something new, taking a chance, you know? Expanding outside of your own little bubble. That's what food is all about. It's great to learn, study different cultures, to learn more about what they do to make life great, but you know, when it comes to traditional and authentic, it's such an open-ended word. I think if you get too caught up in it, you're gonna miss out on like what's actually right in front of you. There's a lot of people and chefs that really stress out about making food exact and making it perfect, but what is that really other than just control? Oh, that smells so good. All right, this is tasting amazing, just this broth alone, or this mixture. Add in my beef, and the beef is gonna look so much sexier the second it gets all up in that chisel. So now we're gonna simmer it up for a little bit, let the beef sort of make sweet loving with the other veggies, and oh my God. And then this is gonna get stuffed inside of our arepa. Can't wait for you guys to see the arepas, they're gonna blow you away. Let's make a little Reina Pepiada. So I have some shredded chicken here. I basically just put the chicken breast in water, a little bit of spice, I can use like garlic, onions, whatever, and I just poached it. And what happens is it gets actually pretty dry after about 20 minutes of simmering. Then you just let it cool and you shred it. And when you taste the chicken, it's gonna be a little bit dry, as chicken breast usually is, but we're gonna make this amazing dressing sauce kind of thing over here, mix it all together, and you won't even know it was ever dry. Tricking them. All right, so in my bowl goes avocado. Now, oftentimes they use mayo. I'm gonna avoid mayo, just because I actually don't really have any right now, but you could actually, if you want to get extra creamy, you can use mayo, but I find avocado in general is a good substitute for mayo. So even though typically they would use both, I don't think you need it. But you could, but you don't. But you could, but you don't. All right. The juice of the lime. Ah! Son of a bitch, I've never cut myself with a fork before. God, this is a sharp fork. What the frick? All right, slow down. Slow down, Josh, slow. Listen, there's gonna be some injuries in the kitchen. For one, you're gonna heal. Your body knows how to heal itself, which is great. And for two, sometimes you just gotta slow down. You know, I was admittedly rushing a little bit. Red peppers go in, some raw onion, you can use red or white, some cilantro, and some diced up jalapeno. I de-seeded mine, you can keep the seeds in, no judgment either way. Remember, nobody can judge you but yourself, so you might as well just enjoy yourself, love yourself, have some fun. Mix this around, then we're just gonna add in some salt and pepper, mix in the chicken, and we will be having a party, right? Party in our mouth. A little salt. Just that right there is like a guac would be fantastic, but you throw in your chicken, you're having a party. And because the chicken was, you know, a little bit dry and pulled, I'm probably gonna add in a little extra lime juice. Give it a try first though. Nice and fresh, but yeah, it needs more lime.
We interrupt this video for a brief, awesome message.
Just a quick note, I'm super excited to let you know that I just finished up my first full-length album. If you did not know, I've been a musician way longer than I've been a food person, but I of course love both. But I'm really excited to share it with y'all. I want to give you a chance to be part of my first music video. It's going to be a video of people dancing from around the world. All you have to do, and check the details below, is send a video of yourself listening to the song and dancing to the song and just having fun. I'll insert you in the video, and it's just to show people connecting around the world through dance. The whole album is a fun dance album. It's all about inspiration, getting you excited to kind of move your body and feel freaking fantastic. Also, the album will be out in just a few weeks. If you want to know about that, follow me at You Enjoyed Life on Instagram. More updates. Anyhow, back to the video. Now, I don't want to assume, because you know what they say about assuming, it makes an ass out of you and me. But if there's one thing you might not know how to cut in this video, it would be the plantains. So I'm going to show you a simple way to cut plantains. Very easy. You snip the tip. Oh, God. Gently. Be careful with your fingers, but you just make a little incision down the side, trying not to cut into the actual plantain. And if you cut a little bit, that's okay. And then you peel this off. And then you get your plantain. And at this point, you know, you can, sometimes people will cut them kind of crosswise. For plantains that are gonna be stuffed in arepas, I've found that like sort of doing a cut in half method, that's a nice plantain. You can smush it down a little bit. I'm just gonna fry these up in some oil, and they're gonna be the best thing you've ever eaten in your life. Now, I will be the first person to admit that I've been a little slacking lately with the non-stick pans. Over the years, I've just kind of got accustomed to them because they're simple and they're easy, but this year I made a vow to drastically cut back on my non-stick pan. I actually got rid of most of them, and to focus on using nicer pans. Nothing wrong with non-stick. If you got one pan, they're great. And I'm gonna add a little more oil. So with plantains, you can like absolutely deep fry them. I'm gonna do like more of a kind of very shallow fry, which should work. Don't be shallow unless you're frying. And they are, because they have good sugar in them, they're gonna be a little bit sticky. That's okay, just let them kind of do their thing. When they're ready to be done, they'll release. All right, let's talk about the creme de la creme of the arepa, which is the masa arepa. All I have in this bowl is a little bit of water, not cold, not hot, kind of right in the middle. A little bit of olive oil and some salt. You don't need the olive oil, I just like to add it. I'm just gonna kind of slowly start to add this and work it in. It's good to like kind of add it in a bit at a time to make sure it doesn't clump up. And you're essentially making a dough here, but what's nice is you don't need to knead it. The most important thing with this dough is that you don't want it to be too wet and you don't want it to be too dry. So it's kind of finding that nice balance. And what's nice is if you need to add more water, you can. So now the dough's in a pretty good spot. I washed my hands off first. The reason I do that is because they were all, gloopy with cornmeal and stuff. So I want to get them nice and clean, and it shouldn't stick. If you're having issues with that, you can get your hands a little bit wet, but it should be at that state where like it feels a little sticky, but it's not sticking to your hands. You just take a ball. I'm actually gonna do a bigger one. So you can make small little guys that you can just eat as like sides, as a great bread replacement. And remember, it's not maseca, which is like the corn flour you would use for tortillas. If you were trying to use the tortilla flour, it's not pre-cooked, so it's gonna have a very different texture. It would work in terms of like, if that's all you got, you can make something. You're not gonna make an arepa, but you're gonna make something that's gonna be good. Just kind of flatten it out. Once it's flattened out, you just go around the edges. And if there's like tiny little cracks, you can smooth them over. My dough could maybe even be the slightest bit more moist, but that's actually great. That's a pretty nice size. Now what you wanna do is get a cast iron hot or a regular pan hot and get your oven at 350, because we're gonna cook them with the cast iron, then we're gonna bake those bizzies off. Cast iron pan hot, no oil is needed. Some people will use oil and they'll get an extra crispy golden brown in them, but it's not necessary. Kind of cooking them on a medium heat right now. You get a medium high. You obviously don't want to burn them, but all we're trying to do is get them nice and golden on one side, flip them over, cook them on the other side, and then finish them off in the oven because they are thick. So if you make thinner arepas, you can cook them just in the pan, but if they get thicker, they're gonna need to bake on the inside a little bit. Look at Freya eyeing those cakes.
What's that?
That is the cutest thing ever. The first time I ever had arepa, I went to this place called Caracas in New York City, and they have one in Manhattan, they have one in Brooklyn, there was one by my house, and I was blown away. They're really affordable. So usually on this channel, I show you guys how to make like, proper something in the more, budget, affordable version. But I found a cuisine that I think is just really simple, really affordable. You don't need any special equipment. So Venezuelan food is just like all around amazing and comforting and delicious. But when I first went to Caracas, I was so amazed. I couldn't believe that a sandwich could be incredible without regular bread. It blew me away. And not to say they call them sandwiches, but like it kind of gives you that vibe, that you're stuffing stuff inside of a thing and you're eating it and you're having a good time. But what they had this sauce, and this isn't necessarily a traditional Venezuelan sauce, but they had this amazing sauce there. It's the most addicting thing. It's like this spicy, vinegary herb sauce that you put on everything. So I'm gonna try to create that. Typically in Venezuela, they have this thing called Guasacaca, and it's a sort of avocado herb sauce. So I'm gonna try to kind of find a blend between that and this one I got at Caracas, just to make an all-purpose great sauce. This might seem weird putting this here, but it's just for showing you pleasure. So I'm gonna add it in, I'm gonna make my sauce now. And this is gonna be a mix between kind of a classic sauce that they would make in Venezuela and the one that I had at Caracas. And we'll see how it tastes. I'm just kind of throwing stuff in. I've got cilantro, parsley, jalapenos, chucking it in. Green peppers, red peppers, onions, and garlic are gonna get chucked in there. This is the old chuckity yuck. Juice of the lime. You put the lime in the coconut and I'm gonna be adding some white vinegar. Some kind of sugar, but I like maple syrup. I just got some new fresh maple syrup in the mizzy. And then some salt. Salt. Salt your booty. Salt your booty. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna blend this up and see how it tastes and go from there. Wow, so first try I did add half of an avocado, a small avocado, just to kind of bring it together a bit, but it tastes amazing. I don't wanna say it tastes exactly like Caracas, but it tastes close enough that it's gonna be perfect. Spicy, sweet, tangy, herbaceous. This right here is my secret weapon. And I will say, there was a time when I was so obsessed with the sauce at Caracas, you can actually buy it, and I bought it, and I brought it home, and I tested it, and I figured out a perfect replica, and I never wrote it down. Like an idiot, and that was years ago. But from what I remember, this is so close and so good. Blah, blah, blah. Look at our feast. This is one of the fastest videos I've ever made because it's very simple. You know, got our beef, got the pulled chicken, some beans I just cooked with some, little cumin. You can use garlic if you want, water, salt, pepper, little crumbler cheese, plantains, and the star of the show, Mr. Arepa. And the thing about the arepa is, right now, obviously it's just this cake. So you could, it's great for breakfast. You could have scrambled eggs and just kind of put this on the side. But what they do is they actually cut into it. Not all the way, just enough so they can be stuffed. Look at that. So the sort of simplest one is literally just this chicken, just stuffed right in there. So yeah, the chicken's super simple. I'm gonna drizzle some sauce on there, but it's really because there's so much flavor in there, that is all you need. When you order it, that's all you'll get. And let's make the beef guy. So for the beef, slightly more complicated, but also not really at all because this food is so simple and good. Okay, so for this one, we're actually gonna do some plantains get stuffed in there, drop some beans in, and then the beef. And you really wanna load the beef on there. A little bit of sprinkle of that cheese. I mean, how is that not a thing of beauty right there? A thing of beauty. Hey guys, you wanna be friends? Hey there, chicken, beef, chicken, beef, chicken, beef. Nothing left to do but sauce, sauce, sauce. Oh yeah. I'm gonna start with the chicken. It's probably a little bit lighter. You know what I'm saying? This guy, salty, chewy, has a little bit of a crunch to it because of the shell, so it's great texture. Holds everything really well together. It's so addicting. This one though, I am so excited about. Oh my. Everybody's more flavor. Coming. Strong. Oh my god. I nailed that sauce. All you need to do now is just visualize yourself making this and then go freaking make it. The level of simplicity to deliciousness ratio is off the chart. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Venezuelan food, especially arepas. I mean, they have a wide range of beautiful cuisine, but arepas are kind of my gateway drug into their culture. See you soon.